Now let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Play ball!
Can Chelsea win the 2025-2026 Premier League season? Have they done well in this transfer market? Do you think they have done well to challenge for the Premier League? You know, winning the World Cup, Club World Cup did them a huge favor. Everybody's eyes is on Chelsea now, but Premier League will start soon. And we're going to talk about Chelsea, what they have done in this transfer market, if they are going to challenge or win the Premier League this season. Before we start, guys, remember to subscribe to our channel, please. I beg. Click the subscribe button, like the video, please share the video. Okay, let's talk about Chelsea now. Chelsea, the Premier League is going to start on Friday, and Chelsea is one of the contenders, obviously, because if you look at the amount of money they have spent, the kind of squad they have, everybody expects them at least to challenge for the Premier League. Now the question is, have they done enough in this transfer market to challenge for the Premier League? Do you think they will win the Premier League this season?
Well, I think if they will win the Premier League this season, it's yet to be seen, because the way they are going to the market to get players in is the same way some other teams around the Big Six is getting players in. Let's look at the crisis they suffered last season from defense. Their goalkeeper had considered about 13 goals come from errors he made himself, you get, and defensive errors. So he considered, like, I'm not talking about total goals he considered, but 13 goals from the errors from defense and the goalkeeper combined, 13 goals. And going forward, he is good. How many clean sheets does he have last season? Or perhaps how many clean sheets does he have in the Club World Cup? He had a couple of clean sheets in the Club World Cup that almost gave him the Golden Glove, you get, which is a good one for him as well. But you go into the competition as it is in the Premier League, it's not the same energy. Teams like Crystal Palace can sit deep, defend, and hit you on the break, score one goal, and that's it for them. It's now up to you to crack the wall of their defense and see if you can bring that great wall of China that the Crystal Palace defenses are mounting, the Wolverhampton Wanderers are mounting. That big, all those teams that like to sit deep and pack the box. Can your team break that defense down and score the goals? They have creative minds. I'll tell you that they have creative minds in the person of Cole Palmer, I hate to say it, Pedro Neto, Joao Pedro, and delap. They have these players who can contribute in scoring their goals and also contribute in midfield in creating those chances. So I feel like Chelsea in general are just missing something, replacement in midfield. I keep saying it, forget the likes of Lavia. If Caicedo is out of that team, there will always be a struggle.
Okay, John, if you look at general, before we talk about each department, we're going to talk about the goalkeeper, the defense, midfield, and the attack. But generally, what do you think about Chelsea going to this 2025-2026 season?
Generally, I'm optimistic for Chelsea. Chelsea have done a couple of very, very sound, astute business moves this season. You look at the likes of the strikers they've gotten, the Liam Delap, the Joao Pedro. You look at the likes of players that they got off their books, the Joao Felix and a couple of other players they've sold. You know, there are still some that we are hoping they will sell before the end of the season. But then you look at the reinforcements in the team, you look at the additions, the gittens on the left. We are hearing rumors about Garnacho coming in, a possibility for Xavi Simon. You know, that's fantastic purchases. If you look at the left back they signed, Joao Hato too, coming in solid in that position. I feel Chelsea have had a very good transfer market. If you look at every position in the forward line, they have replacements, except in that left fullback, which in that left wing, where I said that they are going to get someone in alongside Gittens in that position, and the possibility of getting in a Xavi Simons to be a compare to Cole Palmer in the 10th position. Those are the only two question marks right now, and I know they will sort it out between now and the end of the season. Where Chelsea haven't done enough for me, if you ask me, is their defense. If you look at their record for last season, they considered equal amount of goals with some people in the same 6th to 5th position in the Premier League last season. So yes, they considered a number of goals. But with this man going to be out now for almost 7 to 8 months, talking about Levi Colwill, yes, that is going to be a problem.
But they have enough defense to cover up.
They have enough defense. It's not about the quantity of defense you have or defenders you have. It's about the quality. Like I said, if you look at other teams in the Premier League, if you look at league leaders, Liverpool, is the Konate Van Dijk formation.
Everybody knows that
if you look at Arsenal, we know it's Saliba and Gabriel. If you look at City, we know who they there. The two of them there. If you look at the other teams in that position, when you look at Chelsea's back pairing, bro, I'm not confident in any of the options they have available. I've said it before and I'll say it again. With this man going out now, let's say you will tell me the standard two there is going to be Chalobah and then what's this Tosin Aderabayo, yes, to have these two players at best, I mean at the height of their powers, na backup coming from bench. Who suppose hold that position?
Let's even forget that part of
who suppose hold that position?
Let's even forget about backup. Let's forget about backup. These two players at best can only get you 10 clean sheets per Premier League season. Now you know that 10 clean sheets is not enough to win the Golden Glove. Last season, I think it was nearly enough to win the Golden Glove last season because goalkeepers had about 12 or 15 you get last season. Now, talking about because that's I mentioned every lapses. I said, would they have the energy to run the 90 minutes? That was for the attack. Now, talking about defense, in some games we saw Tosin Chalobah be the best defensive pairing that Chelsea had in the Club World Cup this off season. Chalobah Tosin was one of the best defensive pairing. Fofana Kobe considered careless goals. They were like, it's like putting a Van Dijk and Van Dijk. You're putting, or should I say, I always say this, when you have two defenders like that, one is going to be reckless and rugged, while the other person is going to be calm. We saw it with likes of people say the two cultists in defense, Pepe and what's it called? Ramos. Yes. Pepe na the cultist, Ramos na the calm one. Now as Pepe come out, Ramos became the cultist. The other person that paired with Ramos became the calm person. That's how it's always been in defense. In defense for Liverpool, you see Konate dive into challenge while Van Dijk is reserve, setting some couple of traps, calm. You get while Konate dives into the challenge, win the ball. Van Dijk is setting traps in case this doesn't work out. My trap will work out and I will catch the ball where it is. That's the same thing for every other defenders in the Premier League. You have two of them, one rugged, one calm. It has been like that for like a couple of seasons. I can even go back to JT and his pair in defense and Ferdinand and Van Dijk. You see Vidic. Vidic diving into every challenge, but Ferdinand is always timing the challenges that comes to him. So for Chelsea, they have that person in Chalobah and Tosin. Tosin is calm, Chalobah is that reckless. Disaster is not out of the team yet. Disaster, he's not out of the team yet. He's still there. Though he went on loan to Aston Villa last season, played a couple of games off the bench. He had a Badashile who is still there. Now, I'm not worried about Chelsea's defense, but I am worried about Chelsea's defense because they've suffered a lot of injuries recently.
Okay, Chelsea.
Fofana is out injured.
Yeah, Fofana is out. Koviel is out now.
Reece James might still be going out injured.
He might. He have not. It's not his.
With the hope.
You cannot be hoping for injury.
No, normal team for him now. With the hope.
Another question mark around the Chelsea team is the goalkeeping department, because if you look at the best goalkeepers for last season, you are going to see Ryan Searles up there. Then you now look at maybe Dean Henderson, maybe one other character or two. Another one is the Keller. I'm digressing now, but I feel like Liverpool considered in their last few games in the preseason, because it was this man there and he was kind of rusty last season because Keller had played most of last season. So I feel that Chelsea with Sanchez alone in that back, they need to upgrade, if not this season, maybe next season. But I'm not confident with Sanchez
they have Sanchez and they have what's it called, Jorgensen.
They have to manage. Probably
so
have
you
to
have to
manage.
manage
They had both of
two.
them last season. How far?
Truthfully, that
I just feel like
actually did well in the Club World Cup.
Your
He did
defense
perfect in the Club World Cup, but we'll see if they're going to buy another goalkeeper.
I just feel like the defense has much of the load that the goalkeeper, or takes more of the load from the goalkeeper than the goalkeeper himself.
The problem that Maresca came out to say that they need a defender, even though they bought in Hato from Ajax, who can play defense and play from left back. But I think the reason why they bought him, especially for that left back, because Kukulera cannot play the whole game. They needed somebody that can play CB and left back. They bought in Hato. But let's see if they are going to buy in Maresca. Chelsea is going to buy Maresca, another defender, or he can manage the ones that he had, because Koviel is out, Fofana is still out. That one is an injury man. Fofana is always injured. Talking about the midfield for Chelsea, we know the three midfielders is going to start. It's Caicedo, Fernandes, and Palmer. This is the three. The question is that they have depth to hold the Premier League for the whole 38 games that are in the Premier League. Do they have enough in that midfield and attack? So if you look at the attack, I think the attack is enough.
For the attack,
if you look at the attack, Joao Pedro and delap is enough for the striker. If you look at the wings, if they bring in Garnacho, they have Gittens, they have Neto, they have Estavo. So I think they are good, but the midfield is still thin. Even though they got Santos is back.
You still have Santos, you still have Lavia.
Lavia is back.
These guys are still there. If you look further down the pecking order, I'm sure there is a one or two
Yeah,
other
this guy is
players.
working for Sporting Lisbon.
Thank you.
Esugo.
He's still,
Esugo is
he's still
there as a
available.
winger as well.
He can play as a midfielder.
He can play as a midfielder. He can play as a winger. Now look at it now. Enzo is out. Who plays? Santos plays. Is it quality enough to replace Enzo? Because that is not about quantity. We can talk about the quantity.
At some
and
point,
I said
Strasbourg.
Strasbourg now Strasbourg.
He's good.
No, so
Where's Strasbourg?
when you talk about is it quality enough to replace Enzo,
When Enzo is out.
So long as Caicedo Lavia formation is available when Enzo is out, and you have Palmer up front,
So you rather
and
defend
the wingers and the other guys,
let me understand.
you have to rely on other players, because you cannot come in and let's say
Wait,
because
let me understand.
I'm trying to land. Allow me
yes.
to land first. Because if you are saying Enzo is out, who is going to come in? If you go and buy another midfielder to come and support Enzo in that position, you already have a bloated squad as it is. The squad has to find a way to survive games without Enzo, just playing Lavia and Caicedo, or playing another attacking midfielder and Caicedo and Palmer up front. They have to find a way around it.
Let's say I would say it, the Chelsea team or the Chelsea squad has more question marks than answers.
Oh wow.
He has more question marks than answers. Who plays here? How does this person play? How does this person fit into this team? And you're trying to I'm trying to imagine, like with the eye of the coach, try to imagine each position. I know Enzo Maresca is doing something different. Enzo Maresca has his own ploys, but me here, I'm trying to see if I'm given the chance to manage this Chelsea team. How does this Chelsea team set up? Caicedo and Lavia is too defensive. Chelsea is not a defending play. He's not a defensive kind of player that plays sit deep and play on the break. They progress the ball. They play more on the opposition's half. So for you playing more on the opposition's half, you need only one DM, not the two of them. And for me, Lavia and Moises Caicedo are two DMs with just one Kopama in front of them, which means you're going to be playing more of the defensive game than the offensive game. Now you see where the question mark still comes in. Now, and I said
you still have options on the bench.
And I said this before. There was a time I was talking to you about before the beginning of last season. I was talking to you about Arsenal, and we were talking about as if Fabio Vieira, and I told you he is more of a defensive attacking midfielder. And you asked me which kind of terminology is that. I'm like, he's more defensive. He's an attacking midfielder who defends more than attack. Now that same thing goes for Santos. He defends more than attack. So you want him to be a box-to-box player. Can he drive the ball forward? Can he create the chances to relieve Palmer? I'm just going to say once there is a connection. Let me finish. Once there is a link in the chain, it reduces the workload of the other person. While he is driving the attack forward, can he help Palmer reduce the pressure of creating more chances?
I think in that scenario, if Enzo is not available, the ideal person to slot into that midfield trio is either going to be Willian or Santos. Anyway you want to look.
I think it depends how you want to set up your team. I give you an example. Rice plays for Arsenal as a CM, even though he can play as a DM.
And he's more offensive.
It does not mean that Caicedo cannot play CM if you put him as CM, because if you look at him, he can get the ball, he can run with the ball, he can actually find a way to adapt your style if your players are not available. But we have to look at Chelsea. If truthfully, but their midfield three are, if you ask me, it's complete. Enzo, Caicedo, and Palmer complete. If they have enough on the bench to challenge, we will see. But in their striking position, I think they have enough in their striking.
They have enough.
Once they bring Garnacho, they should be enough in that power.
They have enough. And worst case scenario, you flip it to a 4-4 to play Joao Pedro delap, and then you play Caicedo, one other person, Caicedo Palmer or Lavia Palmer in the center, and everybody plays. So I think it's when anything happens to Enzo that the manager will have to figure that out when that time comes. But for now, they have the building blocks of a team that can challenge for the title.
Now talking about Maresca and his tactics. Maresca have done well. He won the Club World Cup and he has won the Conference League, even though it's a top, it's not really a big cup, but winning the Club World Cup by beating PSG is a big thing for every coach. But if you look at him tactically, do you think that he's sound enough to lead Chelsea to this title quickly?
For me, I would say that I would back Enzo Maresca because of what we've seen. Number one, for all the talk about their performance last season, nobody expected them to be within a shout of the title. Sometime last season, everybody was expecting that Chelsea would struggle this season because Enzo wasn't looking like a finished product. He performed. He delivered a Champions League spot. He delivered for the team against all odds. Now, in the European competition this summer, against all odds, he's delivered the Club World Cup as well too. So I'm going to back him, and I'm going to see how this thing is going to unravel. But I feel that he is going to be within a shout of the title. He's going to be in the little moments, in the little mathematics of points here and there, and he's going to, I think they are going to be second or third this season.
Oh well, look, we're going to get to that
Second
position.
or
What do you
third.
think about Maresca and his tactics? Do you think he's tactically sound to challenge? Look at the player, the coaches he's challenging for this Premier League. Do you think he can take this Chelsea
They
to this
say
title?
when there is no spotlight on you, you can sneak up through the backstage and get to the stage. Now, when you're on the stage, can you perform? He's gotten to the big stage. Let's see him there.
Okay, finally, where do you think Chelsea will finish? Your own opinion. Where do you think Chelsea will finish this season?
Top 4.
Top. Give me one particular position. You think that they will finish?
You
top
said
four?
top 3 before. Now you saying top 4.
Okay, which position do you
four,
think?
because-
Okay, they have finished top 4. First, second, third, or fourth?
I'll
Just guess.
say
You said first 3 before
Fourth.
now.
Fourth.
Okay, now I don't go fourth.
Okay, what do you
Fourth.
think, Alonso?
6th for Chelsea.
Okay.
That's
let's-
you want.
Sixth.
6th. Because
I change my own to third, please. They want me.
Okay,
Sixth.
let's see
You
what
want-
Chelsea is going to do this season. They bought enough players. If you look at their striking, they bought 2 strikers this season. They brought in delap. They brought in Joao, Pedro. Jackson is going to leave, even though that Jackson was their first team striker last year. They brought in gittens. They brought in players. Estavo is in. Esugo is in. They brought in young players that can challenge. Garnacho is they are talking to Garnacho now, and even Simeon. 2 of them might join before the end of the transfer window. But Chelsea, we are looking at Chelsea today. If they have enough in their tank to challenge for the Premier League, look at what's happening in the Premier League. Every big club is buying big players, from Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool,
Man City.
Man City, even Spurs. Everybody is
Hotspur.
buying players. For Chelsea, bought 2. They won the Club World Cup, and all the spotlight are on them. Can they challenge for the Premier League next season? We'll watch. Now the Premier League is going to start on Friday. We will see what Chelsea is going to do. But for now, the guys have made their own prediction, and we have analyzed Chelsea, what we think will happen with them in upcoming season. But let's hope, let the best team win. If they play well, let them win the Premier League next season.